Yeah, man, it's freaking cold. My hand is freezing. I think I'm gonna have frostbite. My ass is fucking cold. I think the ice on the freaking bench. Today, we'll be talking about Brendan Lee. That's right, Brendan Lee. Who's this guy? I don't know. Who's this guy? You know, I was researching who he really is. And we all know that he's Bruce Lee's son. And in this book, it talks about how his dad died when his dad died, and Brendan was only 8 years old, right? And that this guy, I admire him more than Bruce Lee. I'll tell you why, because he's just like me, man. Like, he's like kind of like a troublemaker, class clown, and he went through a rebellious stage like all teenagers went, and he's like a father figure of Shannon Lee, right? Shannon Lee is his sister, and he's a protector of women, you know. You know what I noticed? That Bruce Lee and Brendan Lee technically did, you know, Brendan Lee actually dropped out of college, right? And he knew that inside of him that he wanted to become an actor. Good thing he went that route, right? Like, I was watching yesterday how personal development, self-help, law of attraction, sometimes we bash on entertainment. We bash on these type of thing. But we don't realize when we come to, it's because when we already in a mode of creation, we don't have to bash it. Every creation that people make, whether it's an art, movie, is a creation, right? It's not purely to entertain, but it's in their imagination, they create things, right? And it's so cold, man. Oh, my ass is getting cold. And I'm inspired. I love the movie The Crow. The Crow represents things that unnatural, that somehow that the universe, that he can like fucking become like undead and come alive, right? Ah, God, I gotta make this. Ah, my ass, man, my ass. I gotta sit on something. My ass is cold. My ass. All right. Ah, shit. That's much better. And so and then I listened to a Bruce Lee podcast with Shannon Lee, and I found out that Brendan Lee reads, right? That's kind of mind-boggling. Every time I dive deep into the word of Bruce Lee, I found that their whole life, it's also based on personal development, right? And that they transcend their mind and body into something positive. We have an energy within us that if we can utilize and harness to create something and put it out in the world, just like this video, right? I could have been home and sleep and do nothing, but today I created because I wanted to put out the expression that I have within studying and developing this mindset, because most of the world that we live in don't have this type of mindset. They're negative, they're criticism, and you know, life is up and down, right? And so yeah, I was influenced by his work, and I drew in the movies, I drew this type of art, right? It's like people once believed that when someone dies, death come knocking at their door carrying the blood of the crow. Oh shit, oh my God, it's bleeding ink. Who carries their soul to the land of the underworld, but sometimes, just sometimes, so horrible has happened. The sadness that's what they carry the soul, which never lay rest. So I believe, yeah, this is my artwork. Vengeance in the Night. During my depression, back in 2011, 2012, I quit the restaurant job, and I went inward, and I secluded myself to the world, right? And I closed my heart, I closed everybody out. One time my manager wanted me to go to Korean barbecue, and I didn't want it to. I didn't want to anymore. I got tired of that life. And so what ended up happening is that most people, you know, I was talking to a friend, and he's hurt. And I understand what he's going through because I went through that. But the thing is, you have to break out that shell. Life will dealt you with things, and they will dealt you so hard that you will crumble, right? That is how my generation is becoming, because that's how what happened to Japan, you know, the millennials. But I say this to those millennials: you have strong innate ability to do something with your life, just how we all have a role to play in each and every life. We chose not to, but this is your time to figure out what to do in life. You know, my friend felt lost, and he's hurt by the world that is not giving him what he wants. It's not that most people say we're entitled for what we want. It's just that we don't put in the work. We don't create enough. We don't produce enough. We don't express enough. We try a couple of things and didn't work out. What happened? We quit. So we gave up too soon. Me, when it comes to my YouTube channel, at first, you know, there are people that support me. There are people that help me along the way, and I'm grateful for that. You know, I interview, you know, that's what I was doing. Brandon Lee, his father teach him at a very young age. His father, Bruce Lee, well, when he teaches martial arts, it's like play. It's like not even teaching. That's pretty interesting way. And he would have like celebrities and martial artists come to him, and Brandon Lee thought it was normal. Yeah, I'm just reading off his book, because his past is very interesting. I hate it that there's not enough interview of him on success or his philosophy. I hate it when it comes to, I get it, when it comes to producing movies, you want to know about the movie, but I want to know his failures, his success, what his ideas about the world, his philosophy. And I hate it that there's nothing written. There is, but there isn't. There is not much interview that I want to hear from Brandon Lee. Like, I have to, it's so hard to find. That's why I had to dug deep and buy his the biography for his books. And it's annoying to me because I get it. Bruce Lee is important, but the fact is, it's not about Bruce Lee anymore for me. It's about knowing who was in his life and influence his direction, from whether his wife, widow Linda Lee, his daughter Shannon Lee. I want to know about them. You know, a lot of people want to know about Bruce Lee. That's what I had to gripe with. It's okay to know, there's tons of material about Bruce Lee, but there's so little about Linda Lee, Shannon Lee, and Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee, they should have more material on this goddamn thing, man. People look up to, I believe that there's some people out there who look up to Brandon Lee, man. I do, man. Brandon Lee is the best, man. I remember those dark days, man, that I have. Like, holy shit, I kind of emulate the freaking Crow. Everybody does. And that's what I have today, because it's so cool. The lesson that I learned from Brandon Lee is, oh yeah, and also, he got into fights because people were trying to, because he was the son of Bruce Lee, right? And so it's like, oh, I'll challenge you. And it's like, if I beat the son of Bruce Lee, that means I am good at a fighter. So they did. And you know, this guy, he liked to play practical jokes. And I think he's a class clown. That would be fun. That's not funny. I mean, that, to me, it represents that he was who have all this people think god damn, it's cold. Yeah, it's so icy out here, dude. So people don't understand that. I wish he didn't die. I wish the world gave Brandon Lee more time to live, so he can produce more movies. I wish that he didn't have to die while on set or whatever, on bullet. I didn't want him to die. And when I was reading, I cried because he could have been more. Bruce Lee, you know, all those guys who produced something awesome. I wish that they didn't have to die. Why? This cruel world. Why did you took Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee away from us? But if that didn't happen, I guess Bruce Lee wouldn't become a legend. That's all what happened. Like, if people didn't die, they don't become legends. Now, in his whole life, he was in his father's shadows, and that he had to break out and try to find his own who he is. I think that too many of us live in our shadow of someone else. We always try to be someone else we're not. And the moment that you try to be someone else, you don't succeed. But if you become someone who you can become, who you can be, and who you want to be, and the more that you express it through your art, through whoever you are, the more you succeed about being who you are, because you don't succeed at being someone else or becoming their nature. You win in life because of who you are, of what makes you unique. Most people don't understand that. People think, you know, I just realized, because I was reading a book on creativity, that we are an art form. We always say we're unique, but how uniquely we are, because the circumstances, the event, the people that interact with you create you. You form an art form, and that you got to express it, who you are, out into the world. You know, drawing, actors, singing, whatever that is. Be brave enough to do that. I don't give a you know, it's because we give a shit too much what people think of us, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and we give it too much attention on that. And I feel like I gotta drown out the noise of people thinking what they think of me, regardless. So, Brandon Lee will make you a legend tonight. The Crow, he's coming out to play. Subscribe to my channel because I do book reviews and interview with authors and experts. And if you would like to donate to my YouTube channel, it will help a lot to make this channel a little bit better, to do book reviews, to produce content for you guys, to add values. It's always that, right? It's about learning. Fuck all this nonsense about not reading. Fuck that shit. So, no, I shouldn't be like that. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Because if you do, you make this world a better place. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.